high school. However, I couldn't get into college because I had relatives in the United States, I had relatives in Israel. I was a person that they could not trust. So I learned a trade. I worked in the first clock factory that opened in the country. I was lucky enough that I got in on the lower floor when it was just making a prototype. So against their better judgment, they worked my way up to the supervisory position. Suddenly one day, the director of the factory pulls me into his office. And there he was sitting, the chairman of the Communist Party for our factory. And on the other side, somebody from Secret Service that recognized them from a mile away. I played volleyball for them. And this beautiful, kind, nice man starts to call me every name in the book. And you're a traitor, and you do not deserve to have this position. Tomorrow you start sweeping the floor in the factory. No, as a matter of today you start sweeping the floor. What can you do? Half an hour, 45 minutes later, he calls me back to his office, closes the door, throws his arms around me. He said, "You lucky dog, you're leaving for the United States." They found out before we knew. It was such a rare event. It was such an unusual circumstance that the small town, it was spreading like wildfire. Did you hear about the people leaving for the United States? Did you hear about the people? At the train station, we had a goodbye for people that we've never met in our life, just because they knew that we are going into a free country. I was 22 years old, ladies and gentlemen, when in Austria, I finally tasted the first real banana. Now, it's so much easier to get used to the good things. Originally, my family made it possible for us to stop in Europe. We stopped in Paris and other countries on our way to the United States. When I came to the United States, we came to New York where one of my aunts was living. That was in 1960. The first thing she did, she gave me $2 to go and get a haircut. I was a hippie before it was even popular. From there, we came to Pittsburgh. And I was silly enough to take French in high school. So I'm proud to tell you I knew 3 words of English when I came to this country, and one of those words was clean. I could mention it in public. I enrolled in a night school to learn English. And on the way, on the bus, main port of transportation, somebody was talking to me. I had no idea what they were saying, but I kept saying yes, 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 yes. Suddenly he gave me a dirty look and moved away from me. To this day, I have no idea what I said yes to. But Uncle Sam was very nice to me. He gave me a whole year to learn the language before they drafted me into the United States Army. Now, they were confused because of the so-called intelligence tests. On vocabulary, I scored very high. On math, I scored very high. I spoke 6 languages, but I didn't know how many players there on the football team. I didn't know how many players there on the baseball team. All these simple things. So finally, they realized there might be a cultural difference here. So the company commander called me to his office and explained what the situation was. So in their wisdom, they decided to send me from Fort Knox in Kentucky, freezing cold, to California, to their language school. Only to find out that I can't get in because I'm not a citizen. So they kept me there in the infantry. In their wisdom, they sent me to Germany. People say, "Oh, must have been terrible." Ladies and gentlemen, it was a wonderful experience. I spoke the language, I read their literature. I could not believe that all Germans are that bad. And I had a first-hand opportunity to learn how generous and how friendly the people are. I became very good friends with one particular gentleman that his mother happens to be living across the street from our barracks. Anytime I didn't like what they had for lunch, I used to call her up, Oma, Grandma, do you have anything for me? I don't like the lunch here. Oh, come over it. Come over it. Another man was a salesman for a flower company. And for some reason, we looked so much alike that he was to take me to parties with him. They introduced me as his brother. They all knew that I'm Jewish. They all knew that I'm American. And yet, all the people I talked to, they never fought Americans, they fought the Russians. What can you do? In Romania, unfortunately, I was admitted to college because of my grades, because of tests, but they had no place for me. Couldn't get a degree. If I keep my nose clean, I would stay out of jail. Came to the United States. How should I say that in a nice way? I met a very nice woman on a blind date. When it became serious, I was embarrassed. She had just graduated from the University of Cincinnati, and I only had a high school degree. So we did research at the UC Library, found out that Indiana University would give me unlimited advanced credits. That made it possible for me to graduate in 2 years in a 4-year program. Then UC gave me a full scholarship to their business office. Couldn't get a degree in the United States, I got 2 degrees. Over there wasn't much future. In the United States, I have 2 sons. They're both college educated. No boomerang kids in our house. They're on their own. And as far as the future, I already have return on my investment. 2 absolutely lovely granddaughters. I hope in each presentation to at least touch one person, get to there, change their feelings, or be a little more open to diversity, because it's dangerous. I like to quote to you from Elie Wiesel's. I'm sure you're familiar with him, most of you are. By the way, he was born in Romania, in a small city called Iași. One of the most cruel atrocities occurred in that city. On our highest holiday, the Day of Atonement, which was this last week, they barricaded the doors to the synagogue. They set it on fire. Over 400 people died in that one incident. I have some books there documenting how SS soldiers complained to their superiors that the Romanians are too tough, too cruel, too barbaric to the Jews. Now, Elie Wiesel, in his acceptance speech for the Nobel Prize in 1986, and I quote, "I vow never to remain silent when humans are suffering." He chose to take a stance on the issue of human rights because neutrality helps the oppressor, never the victims. Silence encourages the tormentor, never the tormented. How deep is that? And I'm proud to tell you that after my first speech, where my son, both of